All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you could join us. Somebody told me that it's an interesting basketball week. I don't know. There's a lot going on. Everybody's in town. You know, I'm at the NBA Summer League a few days ago. I see LeBron James sitting there with Anthony Davis. I see Yao Ming, who's not getting any shorter. Every NBA legend, for the most part, is in town, except for maybe Michael Jordan. I mean, everybody is here, right? It's really a fun week and a half of basketball, and then we got USA basketball coming to town in August. It's just this town, man. The AAU basketball is unbelievable. Some of the best high school basketball players in the country. And by the way, speaking of high school basketball, there's two schools here in Las Vegas that are two of the probably the biggest elite.
Well, they're
one
more
of the
prominent,
biggest,
yes.
more prominent teams in the country. And the guy we have with us in studio right now is the head coach of Findlay Prep, Rodney Haddix. And Rodney, this is going into his second year coaching this team. He spent 5 previous seasons as an assistant coach and head strength and conditioning coach for Findlay Prep. During that time, their record was 153 wins and 19 losses. He's coached 5 McDonald's All-Americans, 5 Jordan Brand All-Americans, 35 Division I signees, and 4 NBA draft picks, including 2 first-rounders. And he also played for Findlay Prep in its inaugural season, and he also played a little bit of D1 basketball. Coach, I appreciate you coming in and joining us. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming in. Isn't this a crazy couple weeks? I mean, I know you're involved heavily because you got a lot of guys that you coach, I would imagine, that are playing AAU ball, right? But with that being said, I mean, you're probably running everywhere. This is probably a crazy few weeks for you, right?
No, it really is, but I actually take the time to kind of relax. I mean, obviously, you're going to dinner here, dinner there. Everybody wants to grab a drink and do this and that. So if you let it get to you, it can get pretty rocky.
You have been involved in coaching some teams as an assistant that have been Final Four national high school teams.
Yeah.
We're talking guys, almost every guy that you're playing, right, is going to be playing Division I college basketball somewhere. What is it like working with these 17 and 18-year-old kids? I mean, because I keep hearing that some of these kids, they know how good they are, and they're difficult to coach because of that, because of, ego getting involved and being privileged. How difficult is it to coach some of these guys in these type of millennials, knowing that they're going to be playing college basketball somewhere and they're superstars?
It's a little bit of a task, I'd say that. They're kids at the end of the day. They all want to be taught something. They all want to be pushed. They just have people around them that are saying, you should do this, you should do that, you should get this and that. So they tend to act on that, but, you just got to be an adult. Like, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to do it. If you don't want to, it's all right with me if you go somewhere else. So, I mean, it's a bit of a task, but, hey, I get to coach all these great guys, so, I know what I'm getting into.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned how difficult it could be coaching superstars. Does social media become a problem sometimes? Does it end up being a detractor with how popular Instagram is and how much these kids embrace? Does that become an issue sometimes when coaching these kids?
Oh, it's a huge issue. I mean, a lot of these kids only do things because they get followers and likes and all that. So sometimes they'll go in the gym and it'll just be for you to take a picture, like not me, but like they'll have a guy come with him, like, yeah, I need you to take a couple photos of me, like I look like I'm working out. Coach, can I get a couple drills? Like, a couple drills, man, get out of here. Like, I'm not doing no couple drills. You're wasting my time. But no, everything they do is for the gram. You got your different players, but those are the ones that actually get out there and succeed.
Now, we have a mutual friend in common, of course. Todd Simon. You played for Todd Simon.
I did,
and I thought, when he got the job at UNLV as the interim head coach, I actually thought it was the right decision. All due respect to Stacey Augmon, I didn't think Stacey. This is just my personal opinion. I don't think Stacey Augmon is fit to be a head coach at the college level or the NBA. That's just my opinion. And a lot of people criticize the move, and I say a lot because it's true. A lot of people thought, a lot of former players were behind Stacey, which I understand. And then the argument I hear about that, because I'm not trying to put you in a tough spot, but the argument I hear is that Cliff Findlay was involved in that situation, and that's the reason why Todd Simon got the head coaching job. Now, obviously, you know Cliff very well, and you know Todd Simon really well. What can you tell us, in your opinion, what can you say about that situation?
I mean, I thought Stacey's a great guy. I've had a couple run-ins with Stacey, and he's awesome. A really, really genuine person. And I just think it's a situation where the right guy got the job. I mean, the thing about basketball and coaching is you got to be able to get players. And, Todd Simon got players. He proved he did it at Findlay, and then he proved when he came over to UNLV, and he's proving it at Southern Utah.
What an unbelievable job he's doing.
Who's ever heard of Southern Utah basketball?
Exactly.
Nobody.
And
you
now
didn't hear about that at all.
He's texting me. He's like, he's getting 5,000-6,000 people in that arena. This is Southern Utah. This was arguably the worst team in the country when he took it over.
He's getting Power 5 transfers.
It's unbelievable. Now, listen, I wanted him to stay here.
Yeah.
I was never a Marvin Menzies guy, and I don't like bringing up his name anymore, but I'm going to here.
Yeah.
It was a mistake of a hire, and I said that, Jamison Welsh from Drive Time Sports is here. Jamison, you could back me up on this one. When they hired Marvin Menzies, after they fired Dave Rice midseason, which was a disaster, and I thought Todd did a good job, what did I say about the Marvin Menzies hire?
This is not going to be good. It was a situation where it seemed like a desperate hire, and they had a lot of other options available at that time.
Right.
And they went with the wrong guy. I think Marvin's a good guy. I think he's a good coach, but he was not the right guy for this program.
Do you really think he's a good coach?
He just put a guy in the NBA that's about to get a max contract in a year. So,
but does that mean you're a good coach,
yes.
or maybe you recruited a guy that's just unbelievably talented?
So if
coaching is recruiting.
That's part of it, but also
I agree.
But also, when you can find a sleeper like Pascal Siakam that's been playing basketball since he's like 14, and a decade later is getting a max. He did something right there.
Then how do you explain a guy like a Brandon McCoy who got worse from the start to the end of the season?
Oh, I have plenty of answers for that one. One, he wasn't that good. That's first thing. Secondly,
what do you mean? He scored 4 points the other day in an NBA Summer League game.
We saw both buckets that he hit the other night.
So here's the thing. That's an improvement from last summer. Last summer, he missed a box out and got yanked and didn't play again in Summer League.
Yeah.
This year, he scored some points. But no, like a lot of the rankings they overrate players. So a lot of players are overrated. He was a 5-star. He was a McDonald's guy, but he really wasn't that good. He wasn't that guy. He wasn't a
fair
one-and-done
enough.
guy
I respect your. I always respect your opinion, even though we don't always agree. But my definition of a good coach is a coach that can win in different conferences at the D1 level. I don't believe Marvin Menzies can do that. Can he win in the WAC? Absolutely. If he takes over the Grand Canyon program after the great job Dan Marley has done, I have no doubt he can win there. Can he win in the Mountain West Conference? Can he win at a big program? Absolutely not, because I don't think he's a good X's and O's coach. To be a really good coach, and I know you didn't say really good, you said good, but to be a good coach, and this is just my personal opinion, I'll get your thoughts on this, not only do you have to recruit, and you just talked about it with Todd Simon, you have to come up with game plan, your staff come up and execute that, get these kids to buy into it. I just don't think Marvin Menzies is that guy. I don't think he's a defensive-minded coach. But anyway, let's get off Marvin Menzies for a second. Where do you think the UNLV program would be at right now? All due respect to TJ Otzelberger, I like the guy. I think he's done a good job reaching out to the community. Where do you think the UNLV program would be at right now if Todd Simon was the head coach to this point?
They'd be an NCAA tournament team.
Really? You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. I agree with you.
UNLV was in the Final Four in Harry Giles' top schools. UNLV.
Yeah.
Like when Todd Simon was over there. Come on, man. They'd be in the Final Four.
So, Coach, this is your city. What do you think of what has happened to the UNLV program since Lon Kruger left? You've been in this town for a while now. What do you make of the UNLV program?
I think it is a great program that can be what everybody wants it to be. I think it's a school that can have deep NCAA tournament runs and pull in these high-profile recruits. They just haven't been able to make it work. And that's a process. It's tough finding coaches, good coaches, the right staff, the right admin, everything. Like, that's a whole blend. And you got to allow your coach to have some flexibility with some things, too. Guys need resources. Guys need things so they can go out and get and do what they need to do. A guy like Mike Miller, he has resources. Bringing in somebody like that, he's okay. Like he doesn't have to ask the university for anything.
Now, listen, I'm pulling for TJ Otzelberger. I really am. He's been great to us. He's been great to the show. With that said, I thought Miller would have been the perfect guy for this job. First of all, I think he would have brought a top 5 recruiting class in here, number one. Yeah. And I know that Amari Hardy, and I heard at least 2 other players went into Francois' office and said, we want Mike Miller. Now, Francois went a different path, and again, all due respect to Otzelberger, we're behind him. I thought Miller was the right guy for the job. What do you say to that?
So we all know the NBA is a players' league. Players get what they want, and the league is good because players get what they want.
And that's more and more obvious, especially after what just took place.
Right. Yep. So you got to listen to your players. They'll only play hard when they have the things that they need. Now, with that being said, you don't just give them everything. But, you know, you listen to your players. I think things would be a lot different right now if Mike Miller was here. You would for sure have a top 10 recruiting class. I don't know TJ at all. I'm here. He's a great guy. I hear he's a really great coach. So I hope he does well. You know, I've never met him. But I think Mike was the obvious choice.
We agree.
Do you think that UNLV should have considered Rick Pitino?
Of course, he's Rick Pitino.
Mm-hmm.
You don't look past Rick Pitino. I don't care what he's been through.
I talked to a lot of people, and by the way, since you brought up that name,
I did it for a reason.
I do want to make an announcement since we're talking Little Hoops that Rick Pitino will be joining us on Thursday. So I'm going to ask Rick Pitino if anyone from UNLV contacted him. I talked to a lot of people that say they don't believe Rick Pitino will ever coach college basketball again, and unlikely that he even coaches in the NBA again. I don't know if that's true or not. There's a lot of baggage there. I think he deserves a shot at it. But anyway, going back to UNLV, or if you're just joining us, by the way, we're talking with Findlay Prep head coach Rodney Haddix. What is your relationship with Coach Rice here and the Bishop Gorman program? Are you on friendly terms with him? That is obviously, I mean, look, you want to make the Final Four, you want to win a national championship. I get all that. But that is the game you mark on your calendar, right? When you play Bishop Gorman, that is a fun atmosphere. It's great. I've been to a few of those games, and it's a lot of fun. What's your relationship with him and the program over there?
Man, let me tell you this. What makes this thing so fun is the fact that Grant Rice is an amazing human being. Man, stand-up guy. Like, I could call him right now. He'd answer, "Hey, Rodney, how's it going?" And, you know, whatever I need, you know, he'll make sure that I can get there. I mean, fantastic dude. I see why he's won as many championships over there. I mean, obviously, let's, you know, look at the whole landscape. But he's a good person. He's a good guy, man, and he deserves everything he's gotten over there. So, you know, shout out to Grant.
I'm glad to hear that, by the way, and that's always a fun game every year. We always look forward to that and mark it on our calendars as basketball fans. What you do is very different. You know, when you hear of, well, he's a varsity high school basketball coach, you're thinking, okay, well, he's maybe making $5,000 or $6,000, and you know he goes to practice every day, and what's the big deal? You got some games on your schedule, but we're talking Findlay Prep. It is a whole different ball game. It is a full-time job, is it not?
It is. It's not just I show up to practice like I'm breaking down film, I'm running stats, like all this stuff you see NBA guys do. I'm trying to.
A normal varsity high school coach does not do that very much.
No, he's probably teaching, you know, home ec or something like that.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
My high school basketball coach actually taught history. 10th grade history.
Yeah. See, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do that at all.
And it brings me to my question, Coach, is that, look, we think of Vegas, we think of it as an epicenter, really, of AAU basketball. And all the tournaments are here. Brian and I have done play-by-play for a number of tournaments. We mentioned the young players.
Zion Williamson.
Like R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson. We did their games 2 years ago.
We broadcasted
when
their
they were in high
games.
school.
Yeah.
You know, we think we are both East Coast guys. Of course, JD's a Midwest guy. So I think of, basketball powers like Oak Hill Academy, of course, in Virginia. I think of places like New Jersey, Coach Hurley, what he's done up there. Of course, all the prep schools along the East Coast. But are we looking at Findlay Prep as being that West Coast version of that, Coach? Is that something that we can see going forward? Obviously, there's been great players at your program already, but is it safe to say that your program is something like that on the West Coast?
I'd say it's probably better than all those. I mean, we've, outside of Montverde, we've got more national championships than anybody.
Name some of the amazing players that, even as an assistant, that you've been able to coach. Some recognizable names. I know there's a lot of them, but give me like 5 or 6 that people say, "Wow, you worked with that kid," or give me a few.
Man, a few. Kelly Oubre, Rashad Vaughn.
Wow. Okay, let's stop there, and then we'll continue. Rashad Vaughn. What do you make? Because you coached him in high school as an assistant. He's got on an NBA contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. He struggled a little bit, and look, we all know what great of a player he is.
He's only 22 years old.
He's
by the
still
way.
right.
Exactly.
He's still
He's
very young.
Exactly.
Do you think that he will ever be a starter in the NBA?
Yes.
Why do you say that?
He can shoot the lights out, and that's what the NBA is nowadays. You got to be able to shoot. I was just in the gym with Rashad 2 days ago, and I'd seen him like barely miss a shot.
What's his situation now?
He's playing with the Rockets right now.
Does he have does he have a contract with them, a guaranteed contract?
I don't think so right now. I just think he got in a bad situation. Milwaukee wasn't for him. It wasn't for him. The blend of players, the head coach there. I mean, you got a ex-NBA guy who used to party and do things. That's a coach. That's not good for an 18-year-old kid. He needs a good situation, a stable situation, a good head coach. Because, like you said, he's 22 years old.
I didn't think UNLV got as much out of him as they could have. And again, that too, but not to knock on Dave Rice, because again, I think Dave Rice is a great guy, a good dude. He wanted to win more than anybody here. Great assistant coach, my God, great recruiter. I just didn't think he got enough out of those guys. You know, Christian Wood is another one. Anthony Bennett. I could name you so many great players. Bryce Dijon-Jones, the late Bryce Dijon-Jones. So many players that Dave Rice coached, and I say to myself, Kem Birch, another one, a solidified NBA player.
Yeah.
Jones Jr. I mean, look, the list goes on and on.
Birch was a 5-star.
Yeah, and I just didn't think. Hey, look, Rashad is an incredible talent. I think he'll be an NBA player for a long time. You know more than me. I hope he is a starter one day.
Yeah.
But I just felt at the college level they could have gotten more out of him, and I don't think it was his fault.
I would agree. You probably could have got a whole lot more out of Rashad. His knee was
he got banged up. Yeah,
I mean, his knee was hurt when he was in high school with us, and he tried to play through it. So he's just now getting to a point where his knee is okay. Because I don't know if y'all remember Rashad in high school, like
he was lights out,
super athletic.
Yeah,
lights out,
and that's bothered him. So, but they could have got some more out of him. But I think a lot of that was just the fact that he was playing with a bum knee.
You mentioned another guy who's athletic too, and a guy with personality, and that's Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre, of course, he had minutes with the Washington Wizards and ends up getting traded. But he's another guy, right? He's got a ton of upside as an NBA player.
Oh yeah, I mean he's big time. He's a prototypical 3-and-D type of guy. I mean he can guard every position on the floor, except the 5 probably. But he can score the basketballs. He showed in Phoenix. I mean, he did before he hurt his his thumb, his wrist. Before he hurt himself, he was playing really well, and he's up for a contract now.
Yeah. What are some of Nick, give me a few other guys that over the years that you've been the luxury to coach?
Man, Tristan Clark down at Baylor.
Wow.
Marcus Howard over at Marquette. O'Shea Brissett, who's currently with the Clippers. Bobo, PJ Washington, Kyler Edwards.
Wow.
Some of those Dylan Brooks. Jonah Bolden, Derek Thornton, Justin Jackson.
The list just goes on and on and on. When you see a 17-year-old kid, do you say to yourself the first few times you watch him play, you say, okay, I know right now 100% this kid is going to be a D1 college basketball player. Do you know right away, or does it take you a little bit of time?
No, you know right away, because just the athleticism alone will make him a D1 college basketball player. I mean, there are a lot of other things that go into it, but you can tell when a kid walks on the court, you're Division I.
Is there a really good player that you've coached and that you say to yourself, man, kid should have gotten more out of his college experience? And again, I'm not saying it in a bad way to trash somebody, but you say to yourself, man, if that kid had maybe a different mindset, he could have been blah blah blah. Could have been sky's the limit. I mean, is there a particular player that you say to yourself, unbelievable talent, but didn't maximize that?
Unbelievable talent and didn't maximize it. I'd probably say Derek Thornton.
Really? Why do you say that?
I think he bounced around a little too much. And Derek is a fantastic kid too. I really felt like Duke would have been great for him. He needed that type of molding,
and he's good enough to do it.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people kind of there was a lot of saying about Krzyzewski lied about this, lied about that. And I'm like, yeah, he probably did. That's recruiting.
What did he lie about?
Man, I wish I knew exactly. I think, maybe it had something to do with amount of shots or touches or something like that.
Depth chart could be a number of things.
Yeah.
Everybody looks up to – I'm glad you brought that up, because people look up to Mike Krzyzewski as the god, and we all know he's a great college coach, probably one of the best, if not the best of all time. But with that being said, everyone looks at the Duke program as a program that, never makes any mistakes and runs a clean program. I think it's of effing nonsense. I'm just going to say that, okay? Mike Krzyzewski, behind closed doors, is a different guy. I've heard that from over a dozen people.
You just dropped a pseudo F-bomb there.
I did. No, but I mean, it's nonsense. And to say that Mike Krzyzewski doesn't do some of the same things that even, let's just say, a Rick Pitino has done, is I'm not saying he's running a prostitution ring at Duke, but certainly, what do you make of the whole recruiting scandal? We have Michael Avenatti on our show every week. He's going to be joining us again on Wednesday, and he claims that Brandon McCoy, and I know you don't have any knowledge of this, but that Nike paid Brandon McCoy to come to UNLV. And a lot of coaches and a lot of assistant coaches are in some deep doo-doo right now. What do you make of this story, and do you believe Michael Avenatti?
I don't know Mike Avenatti at all. I didn't even recruit Brandon to come to Findlay, so I never had any discussions with the kid or his family. I watched him and DeAndre play together, but
So you haven't heard anything as far as McCoy goes?
I mean, I've heard what Mike has said, but I never was into it with him. We didn't recruit him at all.
Okay. Well, listen, I ask you this, Coach, because you're running one of the more elite high school programs in the country. Mm-hmm. Can you say, without saying any names, any college coach or anybody from Nike or any assistant coach that has ever spoken to you with a bribe? And has that ever happened?
Not to me. Not to me.
Anybody on your staff?
I can't say if anybody else has. I don't have, I don't text guys with, other people's phones.
You understand why I would ask that, though?
I completely get it.
And I'm not, in no way, shape, or form, I trying to, have you step on anybody. But listen, you have some of the best talent, high school talent in the country. That's why I'm a little surprised to hear you say that nobody has ever reached out to you with some sort of bribe or something.
No, not over here at Findlay. I mean, we don't even bribe kids to come play for us. I mean, if you look at the history of our program, how many number one kids have we had come? Mm-hmm. Everybody that comes to Findlay is like right there on the cusp. They're on the outskirts. They're really good, but they come here and they get better. Mm-hmm. So we always dealt with the kids where, hey,
like top 30 guys, like Shapiro said, he was like number 37 in
they
Rival,
come here and put in the work, and then they wind up getting out of here. Like, we didn't deal with those kids.
Do you think that Marcus Howard has a future in the NBA?
He's a shooter, so he'll probably get drafted second round. I just don't think he'll be able to guard. It's going to be tough for him to guard up there. But
I want to go back to what we were just talking about. And by the way, I am glad to hear you say that. I'm glad nobody has tried to bribe you or your players. Yeah. I want to bring up another subject, though, that bothers me a little bit. I've been a high school basketball official for 20 years, and I've officiated a bunch of games at the Tarkanian Center. Mm-hmm. Even 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, right? Mm-hmm. And all due respect to Coach Rice, because, as you said, you have a good relationship with him, sounds like a good guy, all that stuff. I've seen him there literally scouting and watching 10, 11, 12-year-olds. I personally believe, and this is my personal opinion, I don't think high school coaches should be scouting junior high school kids to go to their school. I think it's too young. I don't think scouting should be a part of high school basketball. College basketball, obviously, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But should we really be watching a bunch of 10, 11, 12-year-old kids and trying to get them to go to your high school? Because I personally don't agree with that.
No, not middle school. I mean, for me, myself, I think that's kind of wrong. Like, I wouldn't be sitting in a middle school gym like, oh, man.
I've seen Coach Rice there. I've seen him.
Hey.
So let's say Bronny James Jr.
I don't need to go watch LeBron James Jr.
If 12-year-old 7th grade Bronny James Jr. is playing at some gym around here.
I don't need to see him play. Like, I don't care for seeing him play, not at that age. Now, we all know if LeBron James Jr. wants to come to Findlay Prep, his dad will hop on the phone and get in touch with somebody, and LeBron James Jr. will be at Findlay Prep.
I've heard LeBron James has a little bit of pull. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. But you understand what I'm saying, right? You agree with me. I just think recruiting kids in that way to play high school basketball, to me, there's something wrong with that. Yeah. I just don't like it. I just think there's something wrong with it.
I think it's fine the way it is now, like being able to travel to AAU circuits and pulling, these
that's different.
Upcoming seniors, juniors, and so. But like, you won't catch me at a middle school game like, yo, man, let me get this kid in like 3 years.
But there are coaches that are obviously doing that. It's ridiculous.
Size 13 and he's 5'4". Like, I'm gonna need him.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. All right, if you're just joining us, we're speaking with Coach Rodney Haddix, the head coach at Findlay Prep. We also have Jameson Welsh from Drive Time Sports. I want to get Jameson in here for the next segment as well. I want to talk to these guys a little bit about NBA acquisitions. Chris Wynn's going to get involved in this with J.D. Sharp as well. I want to talk a little bit about Kawhi Leonard, the L.A. Lakers, how the odds have changed. It is incredible who is the favorite now to win the NBA championship. 3 months ago was not the case. We're going to be talking all about that, talk some hoops, and also I want to get into a little bit of NBA Summer League, some of the sightings, what people have seen. Jameson, I want to talk to you about that. Chris, I know you were there today. We'll get to that with Coach Haddix coming up next. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM. 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us. Chris Wynn in studio, along with Jameson Welsh from Drive Time Sports. Rodney Haddix is the head coach of Findlay Prep. He joins us in studio as well. Reminder now that we are talking hoops. Rick Pitino will be joining us on Thursday. That's going to be a lot of fun, along with Mike Babcock from TMZ Sports on Wednesday. It is our hour-long In the Ring segment with Michael Avenatti. He'll be joining us on Wednesday. Tomorrow we got Ron Futrell in studio, so there's going to be a lot of late post 4th of July fireworks. So Ron Futrell is in studio from Channel 8, so that'll be a lot of fun as well. Coach, I want to get to NBA Summer League and all the NBA acquisitions, and we'll get Jameson in here as well. But before I get to that, like I said, I've been a high school official for 20 years, and one of the biggest issues I had, not with the players, not with the coaches, with the parents. I've had to throw parents out of games. I have so many stories you wouldn't believe. I just don't like taking nonsense because, quite frankly, I'm not getting paid enough money to put up with stuff like that. Right. You would not even believe some of the stuff parents have screamed out to me. Some of the stuff I won't even say on the air. I'll tell you off the air. But with that being said, what is the deal with some of these parents? Because it seems to me that they're getting worse and worse, living vicariously through their kids, I guess.
Yeah.
And just what type of? Give me an example. Have you had parents say outrageous things to you?
Yeah, you got parents who walk in there and be like, my kid is the best point guard in the country. Like, I don't care what those rankings say. Like, he's the best in the country. I'm like, what? All right, let me see him. He can't even play.
You know what I would do, though? You know how I would respond? I'd say, let me tell you something. I'm the best coach in the country.
Exactly.
That's what I would say. That's what
I love the confidence. Like, hey, I love, you got to support your kid, but you got to have a little bit of reality there. Like,
how do you respond to that? Like, if I had a parent say that to me and I'm a coach, I would say, I understand you want to support your kid, but look at me in the eye. You truly believe if your kid was the best point guard in the country, he would probably be a top 5 draft pick in the NBA.
Yeah.
Do you, I would just be honest with, that's a tough situation, isn't it? Because some of these parents have money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are donating a lot of money to the school, right? So
not us, I wish.
Really?
Not really.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Well, how do you deal with that as a head coach?
So we typically get the kids who really are like the number one in their respective positions, but the parents are still delusional. They got on goggles, it's in one ear and out the other. It really is, and I basically just tell them, hey, look, you just give your kid to me, you relax, I'll take him where he needs to be.
And that's the appropriate response. But have you ever had a parent that wanted to get his kid more playing time and actually tried to bribe you?
Not a bribe for playing time. I've been asked for I need a job making $100,000 for me and my family to bring my son here. It's like, all right, man, if I find that, I'm probably going to take it.
So you have a 13 or 14-year-old kid, and the parent wants $100,000 so that they could attend a high school, all due respect, to a high school basketball team.
Yeah.
Have you heard of something more ridiculous than that? Are these parents that stupid? Are they that dumb?
They try anything. It's because they got people telling them that, hey, you can get this, you can get that. And it's like, people don't realize how tight of a circle Findlay Prep is. Like, you can't go get Cliff Findlay on the phone and, in no time of the day. Like, he doesn't talk to people like that. Like,
I'll just give Cliff a call. Be like, hey, you know what? My son is averaging 18.4 points per game at the middle school level. We're looking for $100,000, Cliff. Can you help us out?
He would laugh.
Yeah, because it is laughable. I don't blame him. It's a joke.
But it's basically just a societal change, isn't it, Coach? You think about it today. You had the viral video that went down a couple weeks ago, where there's the parents that were at that Little League game getting in an all-out brawl. I'm not saying that people's mentality are different, but it's a different time and a different place, and it just seems like our parents. I can't imagine our parents acting the way that some of the parents act in this day and age when it comes to when their kids. And the expectations that they have on these young kids at such an early age.
Yeah, I don't know where the switch happened, but when I was playing, when I was little, my dad would get on me about, you're not playing good enough, you're not playing hard, you stink. Like, my dad used to call me Marvin Stone when I was in when I was in middle school, and I used to cry. Like, I was hurt. But now you see parents, they'll come off their son can miss 10 shots in a row. They'll come off like, yo, you're not working with my son enough. So no kidding. No,
it's your fault.
True story.
It has nothing to do with the kids.
True story.
Have you ever had a buffoon? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
True story. We had a kid miss 2 free throws to win us a basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
He missed 2 free throws. End of the game. The parent comes up to us after the game and is like, if you would have worked with my son on his free throws, we wouldn't be in this situation.
What a dummy.
Wow.
I would have looked at it.
All
It's like,
right.
are you serious?
It's that whole participation
You just
trophy
laugh.
era, right?
You
It's a
just
whole thing in society now where back when, like you said, my father was my harshest critic when it came to the football field and the baseball field. My
Yeah.
parents were hard on me, and now we have a atmosphere in society where kids are, for lack of a better term, are coddled, right? And are basically the parents, have this vision of them that is, as you put, Coach, unrealistic, in my opinion.
Have you ever had a parent go up to you in the middle of a game and try to coach the team?
Never in the middle of a game. Not us. I think our situation is a little bigger, so they look at that like I don't think no one's done that in our games. But we've had parents come in the office like after the game like, yo, I think you should do this. I think you should do that. All right, thumbs up, buddy.
Are you able to only do this job, for example? Like, is this a full-time job where you don't have to work another job, where you're able to take care of yourself as being the head basketball coach at Findlay Prep?
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, because I would say 20 years ago that was unheard of. You could not be a high school varsity basketball coach anywhere and say to yourself, well, don't need to work another job. That's incredible. So they take care of you there. That's great.
Yeah, and I mean that's the reason why the program is what it is.
Right.
Yeah. And Brian brought it up. Look, 20 years ago, it was about coaches who were teachers, right? Coaches would be a phys ed teacher during the day.
A lot still are.
And then it was just extra. You brought up the 5K a year type thing. That's the way a lot of schools around the country, that's how they operate, not the situation here.
I mean, I still talk to, I've been talking to a couple of other schools and, they say the same thing. Like, oh, well, do you have your teaching degree,
right?
Teacher's license?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I don't teach here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, you'd have to do this, and oh, we would have to go that, and oh, you're gonna have to teach this class or that class. It's like, man, I'm sorry, but the #1 prep school in the country does it this way. If you want to be that way, it's what you got to do.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I would imagine you want to do this for the remainder of your life. Do you see yourself as doing what Todd Simon did and taking his path, maybe getting on a college assistant coach, getting on a staff, or maybe being a video coordinator, or, doing that sort of thing to rise in the ranks, and maybe one day, being a head coach at the college D1 level?
So here recently, my goals have actually changed due to the circumstances of what Findlay Prep is. My goal was to be at Findlay for, man, you got to pull me out of this place.
So if somebody offered you a job as an assistant coach making $200,000 or $300,000 a year at a good program, you're telling me you would still stay at Findlay Prep?
So I'm all about quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up without money. I know what it's like. I can survive that lifestyle. I've done it. Now, $200,000, $300,000, I mean, that's life-changing money too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm all about lifestyle.
You're not openly looking for that. You're happy where you're at.
No, if it comes my way, God bless, God sent that to me. I'm supposed to take that.
But you're not going to hire an agent and somebody to look for that. Is that what you're saying?
I'm his de facto agent and media relations person. So if somebody comes $300,000, we're going to seriously consider that offer right away.
We're definitely going to consider it. Like, I'm not going to say, I'm good, man. But I like my lifestyle. Like, I just had a daughter. She's 5 months old.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy spending my time with her.
Yeah.
I hear coaches come into our gym every day talking about, man, I spent 5 days on the road. I'll go home for a day. Got another 5 days on the road.
Oh, it's terrible.
I'm gone for a whole month. I'm like, geez, man, like I'm going like 4 weekends out of the month, and I think I'm like,
you have a very, very, very good job.
I do.
I love this city, as I'm sure you do. I absolutely love living here. You're coaching one of the best high school programs in the country, and you're the head guy. You're the head coach. You're the one with the control. So I understand why you're saying that, but you never know what life comes at you.
Yeah, you definitely have to look at it. But I understand. I will say this though. And I'm a speak it into existence type guy, but I will be the head coach at the University of Kentucky before I die. So I'm saying that right now.
We hope you are. We hope you are. That's for sure. That's a pretty good program from what I heard.
Oh yeah.
So Jamison Welsh also joining us in studio. Drive Time Sports. Chris Wynn was at the NBA Summer League. I know Jamison spent a lot of time there. The earthquake situation was very, very scary on Friday night, but. What do you guys make of the NBA Summer League and where we're at right now, or several days into it? What Zion Williamson not playing the rest of the Summer League obviously hurts the league a lot because he brings so much buzz. But what do you make of what you've seen so far?
It's not just Zion not playing, but it's Ja Morant not playing. It's Darius Garland not playing. So you have 3 top 5 picks not playing. That's the thing that's rough because the first 2 days were sold out like a month in advance because we all thought, hey, these guys are going to be here playing for the full tournament. That wasn't the case, so it's kind of a downer in a sense. However, that Friday night game was still a very lively event. It was still a very, very anticipated matchup. But with that being said, it's kind of a downer because we expected a lot more than what we actually got.
Yeah, I think because teams are doing a great job with this whole Spurs mantra of resting guys, making sure that everybody's good to go for the season. If this is going to be the case where guys aren't going to play, let's take it back to the old days. Don't keep charging us to get in there, or at least make the prices super cheap. Like, because if I have a chance to walk in there and Zion just bothering him, he don't feel like playing, and some guys are paying $440 just to get floor seats out there. So
that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. But
yeah,
it's
you could have gotten it for $25-$30 if you got it way in advance.
Not the floor seats. They upcharge the floor seats now.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking about floor seats.
Gucci,
That's a little bit.
But still, if we're gonna run this risk of these guys not playing, man, don't bust us over our head to come. I don't even go down and watch. I watch on TV.
Yeah. Are you guys amazed though at just how large it's become? I mean, this is 15 years ago. It was basically a couple days in Orlando, and then they would out here in Utah as well as in Vegas. Now it's this massive event where every game is nationally televised for all intents and purposes, right? And you're getting a chance to see these players on a level and playing in a number of games. And of course, this year and Jameson, it's every single NBA team, right, that we're going to see here. So just the fact that it's become so big here in Vegas.
It had no choice because there's nothing else on television. People are betting on the home run derby contest and the hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
So there's nothing else on television. In a sense, it was a perfect storm because there's so many TV slots open. ESPN has so many slots they have to fill. There's so many summer league games, so it's a perfect storm. Yeah. And they also put all their NBA people on it because NBA is now year-round. It's not just a 9-month season. Usually, right now, it's literally year-round. So it's a perfect storm, and it's not going to stop anytime soon.
I want to transcend to the actual NBA, not the NBA Summer League here. The LA Clippers, not that long ago, weeks ago, were 20-1 to win the NBA championship. They are now the co-favorite to win the NBA championship, depending on which book you go to, with the LA Lakers at 2.5 to 1. What do you make of that, gentlemen?
I should have bet on them when they were 21 is what I should have did.
A lot of it's protection because I don't think both of those teams are stacked up top, but they have some flaws. Both teams have severe flaws. With that being said, it's more protection for the books. They don't want to get burned if one of those two teams wins it and they leave one of them at 10-1, they get hit. I think there's other teams out there. I think Philly is really good. I think Philly is really good. Utah.
People don't understand that. Yeah, they went with Toronto to Game 7. If not for a Kawhi Leonard buzzer beater, who knows how far Philadelphia is.
Exactly. So there's several teams that are really good that have a shot. But I get why the book does it. One, it's for clicks. Another is for protection. So I understand it. It's just I have a funny story about this though. I was at the Palazzo Friday night and I saw Jerry West walk by. He's with a group of people. This was like 20 minutes before the trade goes down. He was smiling. He was happy. Everything was cool. And I was like, this is interesting. And I saw him walk by. He was in the lobby with some people. And then 20 minutes later, get the alert from Chris Haynes. And they get Kawhi Leonard. And then 2 minutes later, they get Paul George.
Wow. Now, I want to talk a little about Kevin Durant, too, and Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn Nets. A lot of people are saying on social media, insiders, that this decision was made like 6 months ago, that they knew that they were going to be playing together. They're friends. Yes. They talk to each other all the time. This was... do you remember that situation when Durant got into it with Draymond Green?
Yep.
Okay. And then Kevin Durant, you could read his lips. After that altercation, verbal altercation, his lips, he said, "This is why I'm out of this. MF. Yeah. That's exactly what he said. Now, when I saw him say that, I said, even though it was an emotional situation, I said to myself, I would be shocked if he stayed. Yeah. But so this was a decision that was made long ago.
Kevin Durant moved his company to New York in the middle of the season. That's when we all knew it was official. No one's going to play on the West Coast and have their company on the East Coast. No one would do that. No sane person would do that.
Kyrie Irving, though, is not.
When you have the chance to move around, too.
Right.
Kyrie Irving, not exactly the easiest person to play with in certain circumstances. Do you guys think this is going to work out?
Hell no. Guy has ruptured Achilles.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. People are going to expect him to be Kevin Durant.
But you never know, though, right? You don't know how.
Achilles.
No, I get that. But Paul George, his leg almost was in two pieces.
A broken bone.
You'd rather have that.
Yeah. I'd rather have a broken bone because a broken bone.
Do you compare this to Dominique Wilkins? Because Dominique's career, he was never the same. He was never the explosive guy that he was before that Achilles injury.
Compared to Kobe.
Really?
Up there, not as up there with the miles, but just in terms of it's a guy that does everything. You know, Kobe did everything on the court.
Okay, so answer me this then. With this serious injury, look, we're just speculating here. What type of player will he still be the best player in the league? Do you think?
No
chance.
No chance.
Heck no.
Too many young guys coming up, and also that injury. His best case is 2009 and beyond. Dirk.
Let me. All right. If he can't take Draymond getting on him, he's
sensitive.
He's doing the fake Twitter and stuff like that. And KD's actually my favorite player in the NBA right now. So, and he's doing the fake Twitter and stuff. Mentally, how do you bounce back from tearing your Achilles?
That's true.
It's hurt you. I'm feeling good. They tell me get back out there. I can get back out there. I go, boom, ruptured Achilles. Man, that is hard to bounce back from.
No, I agree. Go ahead.
So, Brian, you brought up the NBA championship odds, but I got to ask both of you guys. Look, when it came to Kawhi Leonard, he had options, right? I mean, there were spots we were talking about, whether it was the Lakers, whether it was going back to Toronto. What was your reaction when the trade went down, and were you shocked? Because as a person who's not an NBA insider, who was just a major fan, I was literally stunned to think that he was going to choose that organization to go there and play in Los Angeles for the Clippers.
I was floored.
Yeah,
I'm a Lakers fan. I was hurt.
I was having dinner at the Grand Lux.
Yes,
and I stopped what I was eating. I was pissed.
Big money.
I was pissed. I actually my pocket's kind of hurt. It's been an expensive weekend. But, no, I was upset. But at the same time, I wasn't really upset at Kawhi. I was like guys that are free agents make their own decision. Yeah. I was OKC getting all those picks or getting all those picks for Paul George. That was the thing that I was like, whoa, wait a minute. When I saw Woj say an unprecedented amount of picks,
yes,
I'm thinking like, what the hell just happened? And next thing it's like seven picks either changed or being flopped or whatever. And I'm like, oh boy, this is interesting. But there's a lot of injury risk as well. Paul George has 2 shoulders being operated this summer on, and Kawhi, last time we saw him, he was limping. So it's going to be interesting to see
Flat out, who wins more games next year, regular season? Who has a more successful overall season, the LA Lakers or the Clippers?
Lakers.
They both push at 57.
Lakers.
Whoa, what? They both have the same amount of wins?
57. They both have.
Who has a more successful postseason, the Lakers or the Clippers?
Lakers.
Who's healthier?
Lakers.
So it's all okay, but let's just assume both teams are healthy.
If you give me LeBron and AD in a series, I got to take those two. I'm not counting LeBron out. LeBron's had the most rest he's had in like 15 years.
Lakers.
I'm gonna take him in the postseason.
Was Frank Vogel even the coach? LeBron James is the coach, right? I mean, let's put our cards on the table here. I mean, it's LeBron James and Frank Vogel. I mean,
Vogel's actually a good coach though.
Yeah, but
like, he's actually a really.
It seems like a weird dynamic.
Well, you know what? I thought Blatt was a good coach too. How did that work out?
All right. So Blatt didn't sign up for that team.
What about Mike Brown?
Mike Brown. Hold on, Mike Brown got paid. Like, that's not Mike Brown. Mike Brown, all right. Mike Brown's doing all right.
Season.
I don't think Mike Brown's a good coach.
No, he's actually pretty good.
I think Blatt's a better coach than Mike Brown.
No way.
Okay, well,
part of being a coach is being able to actually get the respect of your guys, and those guys didn't respect him at all in that locker room.
Well, you know what? See, I got a different opinion on that. We had Jeff Van Gundy on the show a few months back, and Jeff Van Gundy talked a lot about Patrick Ewing and their relationship, and he would say, he told us this on the show. He said, Patrick Ewing did not respect me. But you know what Patrick Ewing did respect? The coaching position. You don't have to respect the person, respect the position. And I think there are too many players in the league right now that do not respect the position. And that is wrong, in my opinion.
It's also a reason why he hasn't been a coach since 2007. And I mean, I'm not saying he's good. He's really
part
good
of that is because he does not want to be the head coach. He's making a lot of money as an analyst.
He's interviewed for.
I understand, but there's a few positions that he also turned down. And I also think his brother Stan Van Gundy is a good coach.
Yeah, I think both of them are really good coaches. I actually like Van Gundy a lot. I love hearing him talk when he's doing the games. Like, I love listening.
That's
to him.
preposterous.
He's a man. Like, I would love to just sit and have lunch with him and just hear him.
He's
talk.
a cool guy.
He's a great person. But I mean, part of coaching too is you gotta adapt to what the time is. Like, you should always respect the coach. That should be the number one. Anytime you join a team, no matter who your coach is, whether you like him or not, you respect him because he is the coach. But coaches at the same time, like, they got to realize, all right, like we talked about, it's a players' league. I got to get my players to bond with me, to like me. Like, I got to go out on a limb. I got to do some things.
A guy like a Mike D'Antoni, okay, and we had his agent, Warren Ligari, in studio last week. I said, D'Antoni is almost in an impossible spot. You're trying to coach James Harden, who is an unbelievable talent. But how do you tell the guy not to take so many 35-foot contested threes when he's making 35% of them? A guy like a Chris Paul, well, that's what I'm saying. It's an impossible spot to be in. You're in a no-win situation. They're not going to win an NBA championship. I'm sorry, but they're just not. D'Antoni's on the last year of his contract. That, to me, that is the toughest coaching spot right now. With the talent that he has, he's got a lot of pressure. And I just don't see that team getting it done. James Harden and Chris Paul have not proven yet that they can get over the hump in the playoffs.
It's tough to coach any of those guys. They grown men.
But that ain't the toughest. That ain't the toughest situation in the league, though. That is
what is?
Oh, the Lakers' job is right now the toughest because
you've got Anthony Davis and LeBron James, though.
But you have expectations of like basically finals or bust. Like
they were horrendous last year.
It doesn't matter. Last year. This is this year. You talked about the odds 10 minutes ago.
Yeah,
we look to the future.
Yeah, this is all current. Like the expectations are when you give away your whole draft for the next 4 years, you're expecting.
Can you hypothetically imagine that the Clippers? This could happen. The Clippers and Lakers are in the Western Conference Finals.
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
How cool would that be for LA? Right?
Yes, it'd be amazing.
And I would be rooting for the Clippers because they have been horrible for so long.
You're a Celtics fan, so you ain't got to explain why you.
No. This has nothing. Jameson is right. This has nothing to do with the Celtics.
And I'm a Pistons fan, so I don't like the Lakers either. But
listen, I was a huge Kobe Bryant guy, and I still am, by the way. I love Kobe Bryant. He is a killer. Killer when he played the game. I'm a big Shaq guy. I love those teams, even though I was a Celtics fan. They took a championship away from my Celtics. But with that being said, the reason why the Clippers have been horrible for so long, they've been second fiddle in LA. I want them to do something, that puts them over the top. And I think the only thing that will have them, they don't even have to win a championship.
Yeah,
just no. To not be second fiddle. And I'm just saying
they are, though. They always will be, Brian. I almost fell over my chair when Jameson just said they're going to win 57 games. Yeah. I think of Lloyd Vaught. I think of Keith Kloss. Yeah. That's the Clippers.
Keith Kloss.
I think of. It's the Clippers.
When you think of L.A.,
Billy
think
Crystal.
of Lakers, you think of Dodgers after that.
Yeah.
But guys,
you say second fiddle. They're not even second fiddle.
Clippers
aren't second fiddle.
I'm saying I understand
football, but UCLA basketball. They're not even top 5.
I get it, but all I'm saying is if the Clippers can knock off the Lakers in postseason, that would be huge accolades.
It would be huge.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
It wouldn't change anything. Like Kawhi Leonard,
if they win a championship, it does.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
How many do we have in LA?
They need to win like 7.
Yeah.
Listen,
if
the Clippers win if the Clippers win the NBA championship next year, the Lakers will be second fiddle to the Clippers.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's completely ridiculous.
They're a better team.
You're from
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Yankees, Mets. That's the comparison. Yankees get all the headlines. It's bloodlines of how many fans they have. The Mets, they've had some runs, but it's still the Mets.
The Clippers will be on the map. They will be on the map. They will have the respect if they win a championship. They have always been a joke in L.A. They've been a joke. Okay.
It's going to take more than one championship.
And listen, I'm not a huge Doc Rivers guy. He coached my Celtics to an NBA championship. I thought he should have won a couple with the teams he had. Okay. With that being, I'm not a big Doc Rivers guy. I just never have been. Okay.
Coaching the game right now.
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's debatable.
Yeah, he is. But all right.
That's debatable. Well, listen.
He had Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell going 6 versus the Warriors. Like I don't know. That team last year that they had wasn't that good. It was not that good. I mean, Patrick Beverly was playing out of his mind.
I understand. I just think he's an overrated coach. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying I believe he is an overrated coach. That's all I'm saying.
Is he better than Brad Stevens?
Yes, I'm going to say yes.
I was waiting for you to say something.
The reason why I say yes is because I think Stevens. This was his worst coaching decision, coaching job this year. I thought Brad Stevens really struggled this year. And look, Kyrie Irving's a difficult guy to coach, but look, I think Brad Stevens is a decent coach. I think he's done a decent job.
He's really good.
But Doc Rivers has got an NBA championship. He's got a ton of experience. He's got probably a lot more respect in the NBA than Brad Stevens does. So absolutely. I didn't say Doc wasn't a good coach. I just think he's an overrated coach. That's all. Well, we only got 1 minute to go here. And Jameson, by the way, thank you so much for coming in studio. It was a surprise today, a pleasant surprise. No Always appreciate it when my guy Jameson comes in studio. Chris, thank you so much for being here as well. Coach, I got to say, my man, thank you so much for coming in. And I really wish you the best of luck. I hope you kill it this year. All due respect to Bishop Corman, I hope you win by 50. And I mean that sincerely. I really do. I hope you blow them out. But anyway, we look forward to it. Love to have you in again in studio, maybe down the road, maybe before your season starts. We'd love to have you in again. Thank you so much.
Anytime, man. Anytime. Thank you guys for having me.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So tomorrow on the show, we got Ron Futrell from Channel 8 that is going to be in studio. Brett Smiley, of course. JD, Brett Smiley, give the organization out where Brett works for.
He's editor of sportshandle.com. He's going to talk to us about the new states that are legalizing sports betting.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We're going to miss Ken, our producer. Ken, we wish you luck in your future endeavors. Oh, you weren't fired. That didn't sound right. Anyway, thanks for joining us, everybody. The legend Ken Thompson coming up next. Have a good one.